My first season with the Bluecoats was actually the 91-92 season. I was living in Montreal at the time, studying at McGill, and Ted Swaldo called me and asked if I would be interested in working with the Bluecoats brass line. And I told him I would be interested, but I'd really like to meet with him and the staff first. Having come off kind of a bad experience the summer before, I just wanted to check things out. And Ted invited me down to the first design meeting, which was at BOA in Indianapolis. And I went and met everybody, and Ted treated me so well right from the very beginning, and I just always admired him greatly. And I think it was at that meeting that I found out that the group was actually interested in performing Beatles music. Now, a lot of people that know me know I'm a Beatles fan, so they assumed that I had something to do with that. The truth is, I had nothing to do with it whatsoever. I think the decision had already been made. I was able to contribute at that meeting, but beyond that, I really had very, very little to do with that drum corps show. So similarly, in 2019, the Beatles show, I think people, again, assumed that, it was my idea to try it. It really wasn't. It was part of a conversation in the car between our rehearsal site and Lucas Oil, finals week of 2017. Vince and Tom and I, of course, used to travel together back and forth. And it was actually Vince, typical Vince, rolled a grenade into the room and then took off. He said, "Have you ever thought about doing a Beatles show?" And I really hadn't, because the rights issues had been so prohibitive around that era. So, next thing I know, in 2018, it was really like part of a serious conversation between John and I and Vince, Tom Rarick. And, it took hold. And Tom and I were the most, we approached it with the most trepidation. I used to compare it to a nice Sunday drive in Iraq. There's a booby trap around every corner, and a problem around every corner. But I'm really glad we did it. I'm glad we tried it. I'm so proud of that show. That was probably the strongest collaborative effort we've had to date, because everybody was involved in the process. As I said, I approached it with trepidation, but when I saw Michael Rafer's work and Greg Lagoya's work with the costumes, it just became, so obvious that the production value was going to outweigh any kind of musical risk that we faced. So again, very, very proud of that collaborative effort, and proud of the fact that we all contributed to it equally. And I'm really happy with the fact that I think we brought joy to a lot of people that summer. It really seemed to resonate with a lot of the fans.